Mayor Lightfoot has locked horns again with this Jamoke. I like to call him worse, but since you're on the show, I'm going to show respect. Um, John Catanzara. Again, rules for thee, not for me, from the police department. Now, I understand that the vaccine mandate is a very, very tricky issue. I know it's a personal issue for a lot of people. I get that. I get that people don't want to feel like they're operating in some kind of an authoritarian regime, but this is a public health crisis. And if you're working in public service, as CPD is, this is something that's important, not just to protect the police officers from catching the virus, but from protecting those they are exposed to, even if they have an immunity that protects them from it. So this comes to us from Block Club Chicago. Kelly Bauer, police union leader, must stop encouraging members to defy city's vaccine mandate, judge says, because Mayor Lightfoot decided to sue the Fraternal Order Police, and in turn, they decided to file a lawsuit against the city. So a judge has ordered the president of Chicago's largest police union to stop making statements encouraging officers to defy the city's vaccine mandate. The restraining order came Friday evening before the show, just a day after the city sued the police union and its president, John Catanzara, alleging they were encouraging a work stoppage or strike by suggesting offices not report their COVID-19 vaccination status as they are required to. How about that? You have the privilege of serving in law to protect and save people, right? But you're not going to get the vaccine, which would potentially, hopefully, protect people. This guy Cottons, I don't know how. Well, I do understand why he's there. He has a lot of supporters. He's got to go. I mean, this guy is just a clown in my eyes. But the police union has filed a countersuit against the city mayor, Lori Lightfoot, and Superintendent David Brown, alleging they didn't properly negotiate over the mandate. At the heart of the suit are disagreements between the city and police union over Chicago's requirement that all city workers, including police officers, report their COVID-19 vaccination status by 11:59 p.m. Friday. That's tonight. The workers technically don't need to be vaccinated yet. Catanzara, it's like they're their own little fiefdom. They can do what they want. He shared a video Tuesday where he urged officers to defy the mandate. Those who don't report in will be placed on a no-pay status, officials have said. Catanzara suggested the standoff could lead to half the officers being taken off the streets. That amounts to an attempt to encourage employees to stop working or strike, leading to the law department filing a complaint against the union and Catanzara, Lightfoot said in a Friday morning news release. As Chicago's mayor, I cannot and will not stand idly by while the rhetoric of conspiracy theorists threatens the health and safety of Chicago's residents and first responders, Lightfoot said in a statement. President Catanzara has time and again deliberately misled our police officers, and we've seen that, by lying about the requirements of policy and falsely claiming that there will be no repercussions if officers are insubordinate and refuse to follow a city and department directive or order. By doing so, and by predicting that 50% or more officers will violate their oaths and not report for duty, Catanzara is encouraging an unlawful strike and work stoppage, which carries a potential to undermine public safety and expose our residents to irreparable harm, particularly during this ongoing pandemic. In comparison, the police union's dueling lawsuit alleges city officials did not appropriately negotiate. What's to negotiate?
Nothing.
Over the mandate, sending out information about the vaccination policy without discussing those terms with the union. Wait a minute. Who makes the rules? The city or the union?
The union, apparently.
Yeah, that's what they think. Those changes have eroded the morale of the officers and constitute a breach of the union's collective bargaining agreement, according to the union's lawsuit. Lightfoot said Friday morning she expected a judge to hold a hearing in her lawsuit during the day, although she was not certain that would happen. Well, look, the judge has told the union, no, sorry, we're ruling on you can't do this. You can't defy what the mayor's saying here. Jonathan, the pandemic and COVID and vaccinations are such a hot topic. We see a lot of chatter in the chat when we talk about this. And I think on a previous show, we were recently talking about the fact that those that are adverse to getting the vaccination either don't have doctors or they don't trust what they're hearing from our officials and our media. And as I understand it, and please correct me if I'm wrong, there's a big mistrust in South and West Side communities regarding the vaccination, which is why I've seen some studies that talk about the fact that there are more people unvaccinated in those communities, which has been contributing to the higher numbers with COVID cases.
Well, here's my take on the FOP in the mayor and the vaccination policy and different things like that. I know I can be a little bit controversial at times. First and foremost, this Catanzara character who heads the FOP, he was voted in by members of the Chicago Police Department. So this says a lot about the Chicago Police Department and their rank and file members if they have someone like this to speak for them, because clearly he is a racist. He's a racist. He used race baiting comments and different things like that. He called the mayor Hitler. He said some other derogatory things about George Floyd. You know, he goes on and goes on and goes on. Now, mind you, when COVID was going on, they said they didn't have the proper PPE to deal with what they needed to deal with. Now they have a form of PPE because it's personal protection equipment, but they don't want to take it. It's a fight that they will not win. I think the mayor has the right. It's a fight that they will not win. You had the president of the United States come here, and he had a whole press conference and a presidential address talking about how 100 or more employees, we want you to mandate people to get vaccinated. So we saw this wave of companies coming out saying that you needed to be vaccinated. And under labor laws, they can mandate those things. Now, if you choose not to do it, that's your job. And companies are going to that. I also think this is the Trump effect, the lasting Trump effect of this whole COVID piece.
The politicization of a pandemic.
Right.
Pitting left and right against each other. And I don't think necessarily left or right are right in the way that this has divided us. I mean, there are extreme people on both sides.
Very much so. So I'm 53, and I remember going to school, and they would give us a little pink drop coming in, a certain time of year. You get a pink drop in your mouth, and nobody questioned nothing. Your mama didn't question nothing, and nobody else questioned anything. And that was the polio vaccination. And we know polio has primarily been eradicated from our existence. Now, it do happen in third world countries, but they're not privy to the the medical technology that we have. But if that's your own personal choice, that's your own personal choice. I can say that I am vaccinated, and I'm gonna say this, and this is a little disclosure. My daughter is vaccinated too. Her husband wasn't. Well, her husband is in the hospital.
Oh, Jesus!
Right now, cannot breathe. And you know what I asked him? I said, "Hey, man, what about that vaccination?" He said, where the papers at?
You can swear here. We're a Friday night show after hours. I do it all the time.
Okay. He said, where the papers at? So this is a true story.
Yeah.
I have, but people have their choice. They have their religious choice. They have their medical decisions. And if it works for you, that works for you. But the police officers in this mandate, I think this also goes back to the mistrust of the Chicago Police Department. It erodes the trust even more when we see this. It's good for y'all, but we ain't gonna do it. The rules don't apply to us in no type of way.
Yep. That's a reflection of that.
I think their whole contract and everything else, they just got a new contract with it. Shouldn't have been approved, but that's another story as well. But they got a contract that says if they commit a crime, They got 24 hours to sit to get the story together. You and I, Jerry, commit a crime, and we got to make
No way.
come clean real quick.
Yeah, they got to get their story together. That's exactly what it's about. Then we saw that with
24
LaQuan McDonald.
hours.
Yep.
That's unheard of.
To control the narrative, to make
Right.
sure they don't they can cover for each other.
And we've seen this time and time again that they put out the narrative, and the narrative is not true. You know, people get slaps on the hand and different things like that. I don't think they'll win the fight.
There's some commentary in the chat here. So Andrew Golick, the obvious compromise to what Heller is to maintain social distancing and wear a mask. But for someone who is in physical contact with another, you can't exactly socially distance. That's very true. And we saw that not too long ago when I think it was Nikita Brown, was arrested in Lincoln Park on the beach for walking her dog while black. Right. It was all caught on video. She was concerned about her personal space. The officer did not have a mask. He didn't think he needed a mask because he was outdoors. Meanwhile, this woman who's just walking her dog while there are a lot of other white people on the beach with their dogs, unmolested by this officer.
Right.
Capturing it all on video. E. Heller says, this is less about the jab and more about the FOP thinking they have a special privilege to do what they want. Yep, I would agree, E. Heller. I think that this is a lot of what's underneath what we're seeing there.
Yes.